Okay, so hey guys, Carlos here with AgentandBrokerTraining.com. I am here today with a good friend of mine. His name is Bill Pauley, and as you can tell, he has good taste in wardrobe. But let me tell you what I know about Bill, or I call him Pauley, so we're going to say Pauley.
Everybody calls me Pauley.
Yeah. So when I first started here, there was this guy named Pauley that everybody was talking about that was always on the leaderboard, and I had never talked to him or I had never met him. And I was fortunate enough to meet him for the first time he probably doesn't remember, but in Puerto Vallarta, bathing in the sun in the pool with our shirts off, which was pretty cool. But anyways, he is somebody that I've always looked up to. He writes a lot of business. He hasn't been in the business for a very, very, very long time like most people have, and he's very successful. He has a huge team, and he is probably one of the best leaders in the business. So thanks, Pauley, for
flatter me.
Thanks for giving us a chance to interview you. But
the interview over now.
So this website is geared towards giving back to agents and brokers, especially new agents and brokers that just don't have a manager or don't have a mentor that can guide them through that process, and hopefully this will just make everything easier. So tell me what brought you into the business. Tell me what your circumstances were without getting too personal, without getting into your deepest, darkest secrets, but what brought you into selling health insurance?
Just the passion of helping people was my main motivation, of finding something that I could still engage with people and help them in a different way. I spent, my previous life was 24 years in worship ministry, so I was involved with a lot of different people, shuffling a lot of different hats and stuff. Left that and was searching for something that I could be around some genuine people, and really let people know that there are people out here that truly do care for them and truly do want to advocate for them, and make sure that they're put in the right place.
Great. How did you become so successful? What was your template for success?
I wish there was a magic pill. There's not. It's a lot of hard work. You set your goals. You have to have that determination, that to drive yourself. You can't expect someone else to give that to you. You have to kind of continue to push yourself, and know that at the beginning you pour in as much as possible, and keep your eyes on the long term, because in the long term, the more you put in at first, the easier it gets later. So just making sure that you're continuing doing the work that you need to do, and keeping yourself motivated for the long term.
So speaking of giving it your all and putting it all in, how many hours did you work a week? Because new agents always ask that. How many hours am I supposed to work a week to make this thing happen?
Yeah, that depends on what their goals are. If their goal is just to be a part-time person and whatever, then that's what they're going to end up being. This was my career. I didn't have a plan B. This is what I wanted. I had 2 kids going into college, so I had some motivation there behind me as well. So that motivation kind of spurred me on a little bit there too. How much time I put in at first, I would be in the office, one of the first ones in, 8 in the morning. I would work till about 6 at night every day, and then I'd have a part-time job at night, just to have a little something coming in on the side, knowing that was going to go away as soon as possible, but used every and any available time to work. And that can be even when you're out doing things at different shops and stuff, you're continuing to think about work, because there's going to be opportunities even when you're grocery shopping or at a department store or wherever, that you can make contact with people and engage with them about different things. Because the government does all of our advertising for us. It's
Mhm.
all there, and people are talking about it anyway. And there are different ways that you can approach that with people. Even taking an Uber ride, talking to the Uber person, and it's like, I don't know how your job works. How long you been doing this?
Mhm.
Do they provide any kind of benefits with this kind of position and stuff? Just engaging in normal conversations with people.
It's good that you say that. You're running your own business and you're thinking about it all the time, and you're looking for all the opportunities that are presented in front of you, whatever time of the day, right?
Mhm.
It's if you're working a 9 to 5, you clock out. That's it.
Right.
You don't have anything else to worry about.
Right.
You're just going to come to work at 9 o'clock in the morning,
That's-
and this is totally different.
American society is that.
Uh-huh.
People think in the American culture is, I get paid just to show up. And if you're going to build your own career and build something that's going to sustain, you don't have that kind of mentality. It's total opposite.
Mhm.
You get paid for what you do, and I kind of like that, and I thrive on that because there's no cap to that either.
Right.
It's all just based on me, and I don't get paid just for showing up.
Right.
I get paid for what I'm doing and how I'm engaging with people and the work I'm doing.
Right.
So,
I've always said when you're running your own business, it's the only way to make real money,
Mhm.
right? Because like you said, there is no cap.
right.
The more you put into it, the more you're going to get from it, right?
hmm
That's awesome. There's usually two different types of agents in the insurance business.
hmm
Some that do everything over the phone, and some that are face to face, walking and talking.
hmm
What are you? What do you suggest? Any recommendations?
I suggest trying everything
Mhm.
and find what works best in your skin,
Mhm.
because everybody's different,
Mhm.
and you'll find what works best for you. What worked best for me, I tried the networking groups, I tried some door-to-door type stuff, and that just didn't fit well with me. I worked better and felt like I was more productive in my office, making dials, reaching out to people and conversations that way. There again, keeping in mind that outside of my office, when I'm doing the shopping and stuff there, that's when I make my personal one-on-one
Mhm.
engagements. I didn't really like the idea of going door to door to houses or meeting with clients that way at all.
Mhm.
So
For agents who do a lot of business over the phone,
Mhm.
new agents will come in and say, how many phone calls am I supposed to make?
as many as it takes. As many as it takes. You set
Real
your,
simple, right? Just keep dialing.
Whatever goals you set, you keep going until you hit your goals, and
What-
then increase your goals. Then
What kind of goal should a new agent have when making phone calls? What is it, like 100 phone calls a day? Is it 3? Is it 1,000? Is it like get one client on the phone? Like what do you suggest?
What was taught to me when I first started was try to do 100 dials a day,
Mhm.
knowing that you're not going to reach 100 people.
Mhm.
If you're doing more dials than that, you're never talking to anybody. The
Mhm.
goal is to talk to people and get to people. So if I'm not making 100 dials a day, that means I've been talking to people that day, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
I'm not just going to have 100 dials just to say, oh, I did 100 dials today, but I have nothing to show for it.
Right?
That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to engage and talk with the people. So if I only make 20 dials that day, but I've talked to 18 people,
Mhm.
that's a successful day. If I have 100 dials and I haven't talked to anybody, not much has happened.
So it's not about the dials.
No.
It's about the opportunities that you've had to talking to people.
Right. I like to set a different goal there. Instead of saying 100 dials a day, maybe if I got 2 prospect sheets a day
Mhm.
filled out.
Right.
So however many dials that takes, I've gotten 2 today. If it ended up being 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I've already gotten 2, well, maybe I can get 4 today instead.
Mhm.
That you're going to work out
Mhm.
for as far as having prospect sheets because you've done some work there.
Right. Another question that new agents always ask is, what's the best time to call?
Are you awake?
Right.
Right. You never know. It just
Right.
depends on who you're calling. The best time for them could be 8 a.m. The best time for them could be 8 p.m. You don't know. So
You just don't know
you
who's
have
on the
to-
other side of the
you
screen.
never
right?
know who's on the other side. So Best time for you to call is whenever you're awake. Best
Mm-hmm.
time for them is whenever you can reach them.
When you finally get somebody on the phone, somebody's willing to talk to you, what's your approach? What do you do to find what's right for them? Where do you start?
It's all about just communicating, just having a conversation with them. Finding out their situation, what they've had before,
Mm-hmm.
what they're comfortable with, what kind of needs they have, what kind of health history they've had. Just go into the whole gambit of stuff with them, and then based off of all that conversation, you're making connections in that conversation too.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they start talking about their kids, you're trying to find ways to engage with. Oh, they're 6 years old. That's a great year. I remember doing that. They're starting kindergarten. They're starting first grade. So you're trying to make connections with them too, so that they know you're not just trying to push a sale.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to build a client, someone that's going to last for a lifetime. If you're just making a call to make a sale, that'll go away.
Really?
But if you're making connection and building that bond between each other, then you have a client that'll last longer than just a one sale and it'll go away.
The idea is to be their agent for the rest of their lives.
Exactly.
How do you? The agents have different philosophies. They say, have all the products you can to offer, and other agents will say concentrate on 2 or 3 products and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the right approach?
Everybody's different, so right or wrong, everybody has their own way. My approach is to have a good mix of products because I want to meet the client's need. I'm not trying to fit them into a box. I'm trying to meet their needs of what works best for them. So I need enough product diversity so that whatever direction we need to go for them is the way we'll go.
Nice. So me personally, it took me a month to make my first sale, and then it took me another month to make my second sale. How long did it take you to make your first sale?
I started, my first month was March of 2012, and my first pay was March 15th of 2012. So
March 2002. So
yeah, 2 weeks in, I had my first pay.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. A lot of people
blew me away.
You were hooked after that.
It hooks you, yeah. It's kind of addicting.
Yeah, it's good.
It's fun.
So again, these videos are intended to give people some insight as to what our situations were and how we got maybe over the hump and we got started in this career. We don't do it alone, right? Who did you say? Who can you say was your biggest mentor? If you don't want to mention names, that's okay. What did your mentor do for you?
Yeah. Well, Joe Curvelo is my upline. More than just having one, we foster a team environment, team spirit within the office. I think it's important to be in or close to an office so that you can go in, you can listen to other people, learn from them, even learn from their mistakes. And we're in it together, let them listen to you too and give you suggestions and stuff there. And that's how I learned, just going around, sitting outside other people's doors, listening to them. They'd come by me and listen to me, and we would just, help each other that way.
Kind of training by osmosis, right? You just sit there and suck it all in, right? It's the best. It's the best way to do it.
You're going to make mistakes.
So we probably got cut off the last 5 seconds.
I don't remember anything I said. So.
Anyways, you learn from your mistakes, right? Yeah. Everybody's going to make mistakes. You learn from your mistakes, right? That's what we try to tell. I try to tell anybody that asks me, like, okay, I'm not going to know how to sell the product. I'm scared to talk to somebody if I don't know what the product's all about or how to sell it, right? I tell them that's you're not supposed to be at this moment the expert in knowing the product.
You'll never be an expert in all the products.
Right.
Never, ever. If you're waiting to be an expert, you'll never do this job.
But the truth is you'll get better.
You'll absolutely get better, and you'll know enough of the product to be able to put the people in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're putting them in the right place, you'll investigate more about that product to make sure it's the right place. And that's where you learn the meat of it all. But the first part of it is, like I said, just consulting with them. I mean, it's their plan, it's what's going to work best for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's consulting and putting it together for them. And then once you have that kind of bundled product or whatever together, talking through that with them, you learn all the bullet points of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I think we get trapped into when we're first starting is trying to give too much of the information to them anyway. So you try to keep it simple, give them bullet points of whatever the product is,
Mm-hmm.
and then if they have more questions, you can go back into the meat of the whole thing. Otherwise, just keep it simple with bullet points on whatever the product is.
It's funny how everyone says the same thing, that you just have to keep it simple. Don't make it too complicated.
And we all get in that trap.
Yeah, everybody does.
Everybody gets in that trap.
You don't know what you're doing at first. You sell policies, and then you start knowing a lot about health insurance, and you're talking too much.
Mm-hmm.
You're making it too complicated. You don't make any sales. Then you realize that, and then you go back up. You kind of keep it simple, and you start making more sales.
Yeah.
Well, Pauley, I appreciate your time. I appreciate
Anytime.
your time that you gave us today. Again, you've been an inspiration. I've seen you all the time on the leaderboards, and one day we hope to be like you.
Oh, please.
Thanks, Ann.
Anytime.